This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast. Morning, baby.
Good morning, my lover. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I'm so trying to let this be like a rest day, like a weekend. I am not good at those. I have to be very intentional. It has to be like a task for me.
Your momentum is really strong.
Yeah.
So it's hard to actually get off the roller coaster of like a pop work week.
Yeah.
For a day of intentional rest, but good for you. And if you do it intentionally, I think you're going to be fine.
Exactly. If I can put the same intention and give it the same attention that I give to my work, it's great. Mm-hmm. If I make it literally a task for me, right? And so I made in my morning pages this morning, I was like, what are your tasks for rest? Mm-hmm. And what can you get excited about too? It has to be something, it has to feel like play for me. It really does. And there's certain things I just love. So I'm just going to do those things today.
Nice. What are we talking about, babe?
Myself. I don't know.
Question from the internet?
No, that's for Steffi's pod.
Got it.
Yeah. So you don't get to talk about that.
Okay.
Shout out. We will be talking about sex toys in the future and how to use them in partnerships. We could talk about that a little bit today, but we have a potential sponsor. So I kind of want to let that be the sponsored episode if you're okay with it. And I do think it'll be a necessary conversation because I think a lot of partners are feeling comfortable.
Sex toy talk?
Yeah, you know what we could talk about? This is a thing that comes up for a lot of my clients, and this is something, we've had a lot of great sex recently. Is that true? Would you answer the same?
I don't have to answer any of these questions.
And a lot of my clients will often say, and people write in with this question too, kind of like how to bring up the sex they want to have with their partners. Mm-hmm. Of course, I have recommendations as a sexuality educator, but I'd love to hear, you're so good at it.
You go first. Okay, as a sexuality educator, you go first on, that's a fantastic question. How do you bring up the sex that you want to have with your person? Mm-hmm. And let's just assume that this is a monogamous relationship.
Sure.
Even polyamory. We can't really speak to polyamory firsthand, but as far as monogs, yeah, you go first, baby.
I'm shocked you haven't made it like an acronym of your own. Yeah, I think, and are we speaking? Yeah, monogs is good because here's the thing. I think it's easier on a one-night stand or casual sex buddy to get the sex that you're wanting because the entire purpose for that meetup is some good sex, right? So it's kind of, sometimes that's the foreplay, talking about what you're going to do. You get excited about it. You don't know this person and you're not invested in this person's life after the event. You hopefully you're invested in their well-being before, during, and after the sex, but other than that, you don't care. So there's not as much risk on the line. I think in monogs, to use your words, there's more risk because we're going to have to live with this person for the rest of the day.
Or the repercussions if you ask for what you really want.
Yeah.
It always kind of comes back to that for me where not in this relationship, but in past relationships, really going after what I wanted or bringing that up in the bedroom, it's more cause for concern than it is for joy and play.
Right. And I don't think I have ever felt like that with you. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. Mm-hmm. And I've been marveling over this in this past week. I had a really busy work week. Shout out. Love my work. And I just would find myself driving to the gym thinking about how thankful I am for you and the sex that we get to have. Okay. So what I would tell people is, first of all, praise that which you already get. Right? Go in from an attitude of positivity, an attitude of gratitude of, I have really liked recently when we have fill in the blank, or, hey, remember that vacation where or, hey, remember when we were watching Outlander and I got aroused over fill in the blank? Go in from that type of position, because you and I have talked about this many times. We get defensive when we feel like we're being attacked for something we're not providing sometimes. Now, I'm not saying stroke your partner's ego. We'll get to how to share other things.
Going from abundance and positivity
Yeah.
and a positive previous sexual experience.
Yes.
Perf. Great foundation.
Yeah. I don't know. So you go next.
Keep going.
Okay. So step 1, that. Step 2, try to bring this up, and I know this might be awkward, at a time when you're not already in the act, when you're not already a naked body. Studies show that like our confidence and like plummets when we're just like a naked body there. So try to find a time, whether it's in the kitchen, making dinner, whether it's hopefully like a neutrally positive time. Maybe you go on a walk together. Maybe you're on a car ride together. Maybe you want to text them, right? Like, hey, you know what's been on my mind a lot? That time when we were, I don't know, in Pigeon Forge. And, everybody else was out in the main part of the room and we were in our bedroom and it felt like we were sneaking. Try to find the thing that was arousing to you. Like, let it speak to that. So a neutral time. So number 1, attitude of abundance. Number 2, a neutral time for both parties. And then number 3, sometimes it helps to have like an additional tool. So, for instance, I have a yes, no, maybe list, and I've mentioned it on the podcast before. Like, reach out to me for a thing, right? We have the intimacy cards. Shout out. Intimacy cards. They'll also say what's something kinky you're interested in doing that we've never talked about before. Let there be like another thing you can use to talk about the sex, because sometimes that's helpful. Yeah. And then number 4, don't yuck someone else's yum.
Cool.
If it's not
Big one.
absolutely not in the body, what would it be like to be willing or interested in, curious about exploring that thing with a partner? Because I always say in long-term monogamous relationships, we get to be the person our partner gets to play with. Instead of, why can't he just be happy with what I'm providing? Or why can't she just be happy with what I'm providing? Or why can't they just be happy? Instead going, you know what? They could go anywhere else in the world to get this sex that they're interested in getting right now. What if I can be that sex partner?
Mm-hmm. That's very hot. You just saying that's very hot. Okay, can we do this? Can you broach the subject to me? Like, can we do like a real world example?
Like a role play?
Yeah. Hot.
I'm also ovulating, oh sweet audience, and it's, just listen. Humanity. This is how we populate the earth.
Horny women.
Horny women. Listen, horny and excited women. Okay, so we're going to do a role play. I'm going to like bring up something to you. Okay, yeah. I can do this. I'm an actor. Watch me.
What's the scenario? What are we doing right now?
Like, what's the neutral territory that we're in? Like,
Yeah.
we're prepping coffee. No. We're pouring coffee in the morning.
Great.
For us, and so this is an important thing, mornings we tend to be firing a little better. Bringing it up at night, not a great idea.
Good.
Most people are tired. They've had a
Smart.
long day. You don't really want someone perseverating on something.
Yeah, processing. Like your processor's kind of slow. You want to purposely slow down your like computer processor at night. Good. Okay, so we're in the morning. We just poured coffee.
We just poured coffee.
Go ahead.
We've already had our time alone, preferably. Okay.
Talk about sex stuff. Go ahead, babe.
Good morning, baby.
Good morning.
You are a bad actor. I was trying to do this. Cut. Listen, you had like film experience. I had the stage. You get one try.
Do you want to keep talking? Yes or no?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good morning, baby.
Morning. Good morning. This coffee's good. It looks like you have something on your mind.
I do. Can I tell you something that I've really been liking that we've been doing sexually recently? It's just been on my mind.
Yeah, I'd love nothing more.
Yeah. So I've really been liking when you've been asking me what fantasies I have in my head. And I didn't know that that would be such an incredible turn on for me. And I just wanted to like tell you and say thank you.
You're welcome. Like at first I was worried that like maybe it would upset you, but I felt like when I did that, it actually really turned you on.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So thank you for sharing that with me, because it's a big turn on for me to actually hear what's going on in your mind.
I think I was scared, right? And so there was risk and vulnerability in it too. But I think that actually made it more exciting because I was able to push into those corners of my imagination with you and then be held at the end of it and have aftercare and have reconnection with you. And it's just been so fun to delineate that sexual fantasy is not something that I care necessarily to work out in real life. And it's been, like really fun. So I just wanted to say thank you. Truly.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing that with me. So I can keep pushing into that. That's okay?
Yeah,
If I keep...
that's kind of what I wanted to say next is how would you feel about like what I've found is that in the moments of us sexually, when we're sharing some of that stuff, it's really arousing to me. And so then I was wondering what it would be like to have you kind of text some of that sexual fantasy to me earlier in the day. Because I think for me and how my brain works, you know how I have a harder time delineating between like work and sex. Like sometimes I can get so in the work zone that I want to be more in the like, especially during busy work weeks. I want to have good sex still during those times. Do you feel like that you have capacity for, I don't know, just kind of like sending me a little bit of an erotic fantasy?
Of mine?
Yeah, in a text.
I'd love to.
Like just when you get a time. I don't know if it pops into your head when you're on the way to the golf course or on your way home or something.
And this is like this is like a safe place where we can incorporate fantasy of other people in these text messages.
Yeah.
Because it was like, babe, it was a huge turn on when you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
And it was a surprise. And I loved receiving it when you were speaking about other people in other scenarios. And I love that it's safe, that we don't have to actualize this.
No. And
Nor do I really want to at this point, but it's so fucking exciting to receive that from you, and I would love to give that back to you.
Yeah, I think I'd really like to try that. Do I have permission for us to try it? And then could we do like a check-in? Like if it's, what I would want to make sure is that it does what I think it's going to do, right? Like I'm very curious about how that's going to feel, but would like to make sure I have an ability to do a check-in with you. Like, is this still sitting good in my body?
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
that okay if we can like check in?
That'd be
I
preferred.
want to be brave enough to have you, I want to try it, but I also want a chance to come back into my body and be like, does this work?
Yeah.
May I ask for a check? Like, can we do a check-in?
Yeah. And if it doesn't work for us, we don't do it anymore.
Exactly.
Great.
But I think that might make the transition from work to the bedroom even more smooth and might make my engine of desire like kind of humming like under the surface for the day. And I'd like to try that.
Okay. All right. That was a good example, babe. Can we do an example of like something
is our
more
scene,
challenging?
Is our scene over? Scene.
Can we do an example
We don't
of...
get to act together. It's fun.
Can we do an example of something more challenging or, what
Why
about...
don't you go? Why don't we flip the table?
What about asking for something that you want in real life?
Well, then why don't we try this?
Shit,
Why don't you
okay.
be the person? It's hard when you're the one asking. I was like in the moment, like, oh gosh, what am I going to ask for? I can do it. I feel like I just practiced. So if you want me to still do another one, I can.
Do another one, babe, because you're rolling.
Okay.
Okay, I got one.
Well, I have one, but I'm like, I don't know how much I want to put you on the spot
This
over
is
there.
fucking scary. It's scary even to do examples.
This is good.
Go ahead.
Am I flushed?
This
I
is-
feel flushed.
This is all in our fantasy and for examples. It's a performance piece. Go ahead, baby.
Wait, I'm asking again.
Action.
Am I the asker or the receiver of the question?
You're the asker.
I'm
of the
the
question.
asker again. Okay. Where's the scene? Where are we taking this place? Where is the scene?
Coffee.
Same
Same
thing.
thing.
Okay.
Morning, coffee, cozy. Got the good socks on.
I got my slippers on.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out. As my clients will come in and say, "Oh, you're wearing the little animals." Like,
Keep going, babe.
never did I know this podcast was gonna like reveal so many of my deepest, darkest secrets. Okay, scene. Good morning, baby.
Morning.
How'd you sleep last night?
Fucking awesome.
Awesome. I had a dream about something and I kind of wanted to tell you about it.
What type of dream?
It was a sexy dream.
Tell me about it.
So I think the fact that our sex has been so fun and creative recently has gotten me, I don't know, more secure and more interested in trying other things. And then going to the sexology conference, I think just being around people, right, who were affirming, I call it like the cloud of witnesses to my students, that I feel a little brave enough to like voice some things. Can I mention something to you that you can think on, that you can have the time to think on? And then, yeah, then maybe we can try it.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have time for this right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I've been interested in what it would feel like to be like spanked, right? Like with like a thing, like with a tool. Mm-hmm. And I think because of my past experience with it, literally growing up in a home where that punishment was a thing, I have always strayed super far away from it because it was traumatic to me. And we both talk about all the time how the body heals, And I know that kink in and of itself can be a healing modality. And I don't know, consent is so sexy and it's starting to be a real turn on to me. Before I go any further, how does that even just feel in your body?
I don't know.
Because I feel nervous.
Yeah, it's not to hurt you, right?
No.
How hard would I be spanking you?
I think that's what I would like to play out with you.
Yeah, could you like show me pain doesn't sit well with me when it comes to intimacy. I don't ever want to say no.
Well, but you can.
Sure.
Yeah, no, so this is important.
It's not a hard no.
Okay.
I have more questions. And if I get some of those questions answered, actually.
Yeah, I would only want to do it consensually. And I think that's why being at the conference was helpful, is that there are consensual ways to do that. I would want it to be on my terms, not on your terms. I think that's where the tables are turned, right? When I was a little child being spanked, this was against my will, right? This was horrible. But this would be for me, scripted by me at the like this, right? You would be serving me in essence by giving me a spank on the bottom with this
is like a light spanking, right?
Yeah. I mean, we tap each other on the butt all the time, like good game. Like we smack each other on the butt sometimes. I mean, at least that hard.
Okay, I like you running it.
Yeah.
I like you kind of scripting it and being the boss of this, and then I'm totally willing to try that, babe. And then can we just see in real time if I'm comfortable with it or not?
100%. I think it's something I've wanted to bring up, but I haven't wanted to bring it up while we're in the act.
Great. Scene. Great job, honey. Okay, I have one now. So I'm going to ask you to put something into reality. Okay.
I don't know which I'm more nervous about.
This is a character piece. This is a character piece, okay?
And action.
Scene. This coffee's really good.
It's delicious. I made it.
Thank you for making the coffee.
You're welcome.
Honey,
Thanks for frothing my milk.
Honey, I was thinking about something really sexy that
I wanted about to see. Something sexy?
I wanted to see how it would fit kind of. This is something that we've fantasized about, but I'm curious how you would feel if we maybe put this into reality. Do you know the FedEx guy?
I love the FedEx.
You love the FedEx guy, and he's very handsome, and he's almost too jacked. How would you feel about inviting the FedEx guy inside the house and just us double teaming you?
Babe, that's such a beautiful offer. I appreciate your sexual fantasy. I appreciate your comfort in having a safe person to ask.
Uh-huh.
That's going to be a no from me
Why not?
for many reasons.
Please share.
Primarily, he's working.
What if he was on his lunch break?
Secondarily, something I'd like to keep in my fantasy. Tertiarily, is that when you say, is that the third thing? Third, no.
Does tertiary mean in the tushy? No. Is that what that means?
Is that what you're imagining when
Yeah.
you and FedEx guy are
I don't feel
tag
like we're
teaming?
serving the purpose of this. So
But way to bring up something more counter.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I think if somebody, we could do a whole nother podcast on that, like bringing up something much bigger, like wanting to open a partnership, move from a monogamous relationship agreement to a consensual
And
non-monogamous.
this is 100% true. Our FedEx guy is hot.
He's one of the most beautiful humans.
He's a hunk.
To the point that when the FedEx truck starts to arrive, there's usually a Trey or Lauren, the FedEx truck is coming.
Mm-hmm.
He is a beautiful, beautiful specimen that we both enjoy to
Okay,
watch.
so
Okay.
you saying no, me saying, hey, how would you feel about if we put this into reality? We took it out of fantasy, we put it into reality, and you just saying like, no.
Yeah, it's so.
What's
let's
the healthy way
continue
of
this.
saying no
Yeah.
without yucking my yum? Because right now I don't feel
Well, you
like
were laughing, but I was providing that portion of the script, but you were not paying attention to
once
my
you said
carefully
tertiary,
crafted words.
gone. My mind was gone. Once you said tertiary.
I'm just going to call your
Gone.
tush your tush now. What I tried to do while you were so rudely laughing at me was say, thank you so much for sharing this with me. I am so glad to know I am a safe person for you to share this with. It honors me. I know what bravery it takes to share something like that. Thank you. Just because it's a no from me right now does not mean it's not a no forever. Does not mean it's a no forever. And I'm thankful that you've brought this up with me, and maybe a good response could be maybe a yes, no, maybe sheet that we could do to find something else that's really interesting would be good. Maybe you can dress up like a FedEx guy.
Ooh, okay. Oh, how cool. Okay, so it's like, that's really hot. Thank you so much. I love that in the fantasy. Right now, I don't think it's a great idea to put that into reality. Could we continue to kind of play in that sandbox and find something? What else other than actually like bringing another person in there is really hot to you? That's a great thank you, baby, because that's you didn't yuck my yum. And we can keep playing with the fantasy. It's totally okay to keep that fantasy in there.
Yeah.
I don't feel exposed
Yeah.
for sharing something. Even like even in the example, it feels so fucking vulnerable just to say that to you. I don't want that. Even though our FedEx guy is like hunk of hunks, I don't want that.
Yeah. You know, another thing that you and I have done, actually, how are we on time? Is that we've played with sometimes outlining in our imaginations all of the different like consensual things that would need to happen in order to make that a reality. And so sometimes we played with that, and yeah, that could be fun too, to say, hey, I'm not interested in doing it in reality, but what if we pretend that we are and we still talk about all the things and see where that goes. Wasn't it interesting to role play this though? Because that I like felt feelings of fear.
For saying no to me?
For asking you for things first when I was in the hot seat.
Cool.
And then for yes, saying no to you, not wanting to like hurt your heart, wanting to still keep communication open, wanting to protect my own sexual self. Yeah, that was interesting.
Okay, so
Even in a role play.
asking for what we want is very vulnerable, even with our like long time committed partner.
I'd argue, and this is back to the beginning, I'd argue it's more difficult. Because we also fall into this pattern and this place of like, well, I know them, right? So in essence, we're rocking the boat a little bit by asking for something on the fringe. It's like, well, you've never wanted that before.
Yeah, and it's much more vulnerable than say like a casual partner, because then you have the freedom with a casual partner. Because if they say no, it's like, okay, no big deal.
And I'll go find another casual partner.
So this is a much bigger deal, like a long-term partner,
Yes.
or a primary partner, or a husband or a wife. Huh? Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is a very top question for my clients. Of they've been with a person for a very long time, and
They want a little strange.
they just want something new.
Yeah.
Right? We've said this all the time. It's not that people in female bodies, women, don't want sex. It's that they don't want that sex. Right? And they just don't even know how to bring it up. Right? There's a reason that women love Bridgerton and Outlander and things like this. Because it's full of like excitement and adventure and surprise and Jamie.
Yeah. Outlander has gratuitous violence in it too for us. Yeah, for us guys.
Yeah. No, that was role playing. That was very, very interesting. I didn't
Cool.
think it would be as hard in my body. So glad we did that.
Great. Anything else, babe?
Yeah, you mentioned casuals, and I will say that you and I sometimes, as a way to play with something new, or even just a different tempo, a different attitude, a different persona, we will pretend that we're casuals in our minds or kind of just in the energy, wouldn't you say?
It's a different wave of energy.
Yeah,
When I shared it with you this morning, how did that make you feel?
great.
Yeah.
It just brings me to a different place. I will say this to my clients often. When I put myself in the body of, oh, this is a casual sexual encounter, instead of, oh, my list of things that I've got to get out of the bed to do, I would stay in bed for a casual sexual encounter. and then I would make the time in my day to get the other stuff done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But for my partner who's going to be there every day, and I could have sex with him anytime today or
Yeah.
tomorrow, I might just get out of the bed. And sometimes I do. Sometimes work takes precedence. But if I was like a horny, ovulating lady in my slut era that everyone now knows about, I would do anything for that D. So like, I'd stay in bed a little bit longer. Especially if like you were leaving.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we sussed out.
Yeah.
Like this had been a one night stand kind of thing. You were on your way out the door. Take the sex.
That was the fantasy this morning where it was, I go, baby, I met you at the theater last night. You did a great job performing. You're in town for another week. I asked you if you wanted to have a drink. You ended up spending the night.
At your place? You said your place
At my
too?
place,
I
yeah.
didn't have any responsibility at that place.
None. And then it was like, hey, this is an opportunity before we leave for the day. Before you go and like maybe I never see you again, do you want to fuck me one more time? And the answer was yes.
The answer was yes.
And so then I got to, so instead of like poking my wife like, hey, I'm horny, good morning.
Which it is your tingle time. You
Yeah,
love
that's
sex
my
in the
tingle
morning.
time, yeah. So it turned into like, I want to see if this woman wants to fuck me one more time. Can I make her come one more time? And it was really fucking hot this morning. And then we got to work.
Yeah, and we were later. My day was later.
Yeah.
So I do think, I don't know how many people are out there working with each other, right? It did push my timeline back this morning. And so I
Mine
was
too.
late to this chair,
Yeah,
right?
mine too.
So there does need to be a flexibility later.
Sure.
But usually there can be because you've got two people who orgasmed a little sooner.
I'd call that like a hard out where if you have to get out of bed at a certain time, you just get out of bed.
Yes.
And so that's like that's not part of your morning or that's not part of your fantasy, but that can wait. So, but it happened to where it was, honey, and I asked you, I was like, baby, can I run this fantasy by you?
yeah.
And you go, yes. And you liked it. And you didn't tell me you liked it. I could feel your energy shift and it was really fun. And then we got to role play in 2-3 sentences. It was an entirely different role play. And then we both got to go off in our imaginations to see what the meeting at the theater looked like, and then what the conversation on the drinks were. And then like One of the most exciting things about casual encounters is like, do you want to go back to my place? The ask, where you put the cards on the table. It's so fucking hot. So,
And
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. The thing that I mentioned earlier
We have each other's contact information, and I wish you the best.
So hot. The part that I mentioned of the going back to your place, attention please, people who are female, is that it releases the responsibility. I don't live there. I don't have any obligations there. I am just a subject who deserves pleasure. I am a person in that moment who gets to take my pleasure. So I was not living here in this moment, in the sexual encounter we had this morning, in my own home, where I needed to get up and start the day and publish a podcast and do all of the other things that I had on my docket for this morning.
The exact opposite, where I need to get you an Uber and kind of get you out the door because I have to go to work.
Right? And this guy didn't know. I didn't need to caretake.
No.
Right? We've talked about how caretaking is the biggest anti-aphrodisiac.
You get a kiss and I'll walk you to the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fabulous for that purpose. Yeah. And I have personal history with some of it.
Kind of on topic question. How do you provide aftercare to a casual partner? Can you explain what aftercare is and then how you provide it to a casual? Say a woman that you met at the theater and seduced, made come multiple times, complete gentleman, consensual, and you're always going to think about how well that guy fucked you. Go ahead.
So this is an actuality.
Go ahead, please.
I am. Is this for you or is this for the audience?
This is for the audience.
Oh, sir. Are you just over there getting aroused by my explanation of aftercare? Yeah. So good aftercare questions are, well, first of all, the hormones are going to like crash after.
What is aftercare? What is aftercare first?
Aftercare is caring for your sexual partner after a sexual encounter. Thank you. Usually there should be involved some type of physical touch that is still and comforting. A lot of people have a crazy hormone rebalancing post-orgasmic release. If the person with the vulva did not orgasm, this might be even more interesting because her hormones might be in an even more almost frustrated place. So yeah, you should probably figure out how to make that person orgasm if you're ever going to be together again. I can't tell you the amount of people I talk to who have casual encounters with especially penis owning people who don't make them come. Sad world. So if she hasn't come, also attend to that, right? Is there anything else you'd like to do to be able to orgasm? Do you have a vibrator? I would love to like be present for that. But now we're going to say that both people have come. Okay. And there can be a check-in. How was that for you? Right? Is there anything that we did in that encounter that was at all unsettling to your nervous system that would be good to talk through? Literally anything at all, especially if this is a casual encounter you don't know. You might have triggered something. Maybe they didn't even know. Great. What was your favorite part of that? Great. So nice. Is there anything I can do to help you clean up? Anything you need? Do you need a glass of water? Right? Then if you do have a time-bound limit, right, you need to get somewhere else, which is just honest fact. Make sure that you're stating that to the person. Hey, I need to get going. I have to be somewhere at such and such a time. What can I do to help you get out the door? Or where do you need to be when? It is okay to bring people back to reality. It is not okay to like kick them to the curb, right? To infer that they only meant something because of the sex they were willing to provide for you. So it's like slowly opening the blinds, or like in a movie theater where they slowly bring up the lights after the movie. You can bring everybody back to time and space, but do it with respect. Make sure it's stated and clear. Can I call you an Uber? Where do you need to be? Do you need a shower? I need to be here. State your own boundaries because you deserve to. You don't owe anything other than what you're providing, but you need to make sure you treat the other person with common decency.
Cool. As a man hearing that, It's a wonderful practice it's a wonderful gift to give to a woman. It's very considerate, and it's probably going to get you fucked again too.
Yeah.
And I've been on both sides of that where I didn't have those tools.
Okay.
And then I've been on that side of it where I've felt that too, where it's like, hey, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It's odd. Like,
yeah.
You feel like a piece of meat.
Yeah, and then going back and then like treating someone else like that, it sucks. It sucks that I did that, but I didn't have that. Right. Yeah, I didn't have that ability, or I didn't have those tools, or I didn't know better.
I would also say that at some point it is a good time to state what types of communication are going to be expected or provided after this. If this was truly a one-night stand, has that been communicated at any point, right? Mm-hmm. So many people don't have clarifying conversations, right? And so then we'll say in this situation, the female's like, and then he never called me again. Well, state, right? I know it's awkward, but it's better care of someone to say, hey, this has been so fun. Just to be really clear, I'm not looking for a relationship right now. You are free to text me some other time for another something like this. But thank you so much. I had a wonderful time. Yep. It's better than leading people on. And I think for a long time people are like, well, he wouldn't have had sex with me if he didn't want a relationship with me. And it's like, that's not true. Also, you wanted the sex too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just some clarifying conversations around things.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's great, babe.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You're pretty good at this.
Thanks.
Is there a place where somebody could get a hold of you if they wanted to talk more about you in a one-to-one setting and specifically talk about, say, their challenges that they're facing?
Look at you. If you or your partner would like to talk with me, feel free to go to sexedforyou.com/free consult, or send me a DM on Instagram, or send me an email, lauren@sexedforyou.com, or leave a comment in this video below. There's so many ways to get in touch with me, but it truly is, it's a delight for me to talk about these things with clients. And it's funny that we role played today, because I think that I had no idea how much our skills from acting and theater work would help me embody other people's lived experiences. Like, it's truly one of my most favorite things when I was writing goals and objectives yesterday for my clients, because everything is personalized. Like, every single thing I do, audience is personalized. I was like, this is why I like this so much, because I'm in essence getting in character. Like, I'm going in the bodies of these precious clients that I get to work with and saying, what from all my resources serves them best? Remember when we'd have to, before we came on stage, you'd have to know where you were coming from and then where you were going after you left, that type of thing?
Sure.
You didn't act on the stage.
No, I mean, but it's a nuanced thing.
Sure. Yeah. That thrills me to no end for these clients. Like, what's their story, trauma-informed care, of where they've been and where do they want to go? And what tools do I have can help them do this? Yeah. It's literally, I was like, no wonder I love this. This is what I've been doing since I was 6 years old.
You do a wonderful job, honey. And I love you lots.
Love you so much. Thanks for having this convo today.
You're welcome. And baby, you didn't cry on this podcast. I think you broke the streak.
I got teary at one point.
I don't think so. We'll have to go back and review the tape, but I don't think you cried on this one, so streak broken. I was gonna lay it on thick too. I was gonna be like, baby, I love you so much, and you do such a good job, and you serve so well to your clients.
You were gonna make me cry.
I was thinking about it, then I was like, yeah.
This is episode 20, hun.
I think it's 21.
You counted as 21. It's actually episode 20. Because there was that Tingle Time bonus episode that I didn't make a full episode. This is episode 20.
Episode 20, Ed Reed. If anybody knows what that means, comment in the comments below, and I'll get back to you on social media. I won't, because I don't have any of it.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe to my wife's podcast. I love you so much. Love you so much.
Love you, baby.